Thanks for coming back. We're going to talk about who has the best chance at getting an Oscar nomination for Best Actor next year. And these are my predictions. I've already done picture and actress, which I will likely refer to as I go along here, explaining my thoughts. But you can check out those videos. And I'm not going to talk about literally everybody who could possibly be nominated. No, I do not think Obsession can get lead actor, but I think that's pretty much limited to India getting in. So um, let's break into the best actor race. Who do I have at number one? I got Tom Cruise for Digger because everyone has Tom Cruise for Digger. Nearly everybody is predicting Tom Cruise for Digger. It just makes the most sense. It feels very Oscar baity, the kind of role that he has. It's directed by Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu. It's got a great supporting cast to it. This feels like a no, like a really no risk situation. It's been a while since Cruz has been nominated for competitive Oscar. He won his honorary Oscar not that long ago, but I think it's time for him to get nominated for competitive Oscar. Whether or not he wins a competitive Oscar this year will depend on who these five nominations are and who can ultimately get to the top. So he has a good shot. I would say he has a good shot at winning this year. Um, Another person that I have is John Malkovich for Wild Horse 9. A lot of people also have John Malkovich for Wild Horse 9. I think he's a well-respected actor, and I can't wait to see what he does in a Martin McDonagh film. I think that's exactly the kind of my only concern here is whether or not they push him to supporting, which I hope they don't. I hope because there's a John Malkovich, Sam Rockwell question as to which one of them is lead, and we don't know. Everything is just making guesses as to who is in the package. But if this ends up being Sam Rockwell, then I have to have a completely different conversation about Sam Rockwell's chances as someone who already has an Oscar, as to how big of a push there would be to get Sam Rockwell a second Oscar or just another nomination. Let's be honest, he came along with Vice. There was no real push for him to get the nomination for Vice. He just kind of came along because he was doing a real life person. So those are my top two. I also am throwing my hat in the ring because I have it in Best Picture. So if you follow my Best Picture lineup, you would notice I'm insane. But I'm going with John Turturro for The Only Living Pickpocket in New York. I don't know what else Sony Pictures Classics is campaigning, and I would never count out Sony Pictures Classics as an entity, as a studio, as an entire thing. You know what I'm saying? Like they usually have a slate of films that puts them in the race. And some of these studios that underperformed last year are looking to come back this year with something even stronger. Ones like Sony Pictures Classics and Fox Searchlight that typically every year have a strong presence in the Oscar race are going to back their strongest horse. And last year they did have Blue Moon, and Blue Moon opened in the exact same place and time frame that they are putting The Only Living Pickpocket in New York, which indicates to me that Sony Pictures Classics believes this is their Blue Moon. That Turturro getting his first Oscar nomination is their Blue Moon. And Blue Moon, the reason I had this in picture is because as Ethan Hawke started promoting the movie, if you looked around at the other awards, you started to see Rising Tide lifted all ships. So suddenly, even at the Oscars, it got a screenplay nomination. But Andrew Scott was popping up in supporting actor. It got nominated Golden Globe at best comedy musical. I think Only Living Pickpocket in New York is a much bigger sleeper hit than people are giving it any credit for. So we're going with John Turturro for The Only Living Pickpocket in New York. Now that those three are out of the way, I get a little bit more insecure as my picks go on with who. Um, I There's a Neon problem. So Neon has Sebastian Stan for Fjord, which they've had for a while now. And Fjord is going to come in from the international side, whether it's submitted or not for from its country. If it's technically eligible through the amount of English to non-English, it's already eligible for the international feature Oscar, whether it's chosen or not. So it's coming in as an international player because the rules that changed, if you paid attention to the Oscar rules, indicated that if a film wins a major award at certain festivals, regardless of whether or not it's chosen by its country, it is eligible for the international feature Oscar. So it can be independent of the country. So if you have a situation where a film is popular but not chosen, um, and then it can still go on. So Fjord one can. So therefore, theretofore, he's in the international race. Uh, what about Fjord's Oscar chances? What about Fjord's box office chances? I do have Renata, an actress, and I mentioned when I had Renata, an actress, that I wasn't 100% sure about Sebastian Stan. Part of that was the fact that Neon also picked up Paper Tiger, starring Adam Driver, which they're putting in November. Fjord is opening in October. Uh, Paper Tiger is opening in November, and now they've just picked up uh, uh, the Andrew Garfield Artificial from Luca Guadagnino, the one that got kicked out of Amazon. Neon has been bold enough to pick that up. Now, Luca has been a little bit polarizing at the Oscars. People keep predicting his films and it never materializes. Andrew Garfield could be a thing. That's about it. Like, I wouldn't go so far as to be like, ooh, Luca's in the race, or Artificial's going to be in Best Picture, because that's a trap we keep falling down. Um, I mean, so was it Amazon? From what everybody was saying, this film wasn't being rejected necessarily because of its quality. It was being rejected because people don't want to make a sort of like The Apprentice, right? It was like The Apprentice. So I'm getting Apprentice vibes from this. Andrew Garfield could fall into suit playing Sam Altman. So maybe. But of the Neon Boys, I decided not to go with Adam Driver. I was going to, when I was making these videos, I was going to pick Adam Driver because I've heard he's excellent in Paper Tiger. And then I decided, why not just rest my laurels for right now on the train of Sebastian Stan for my 4th place pick. So my 5th place pick, which could go to somebody in a big epic like Ryan Gosling in Project Hail Mary, Matt Damon in The Odyssey, Timothy Chalamet in Dune Part 3. I just don't think it's going to. I think I'm also intrigued by the fact that we have some international people coming through here. And there's one in particular that really makes me intrigued. And that's Javier Bardem for The Beloved. And listen, he's been here before in films without much English. So can he sneak attack in this race? I think that's film's 7 minutes standing ovation at Cannes. From what I understand, the film is somewhat polarizing, but then again, so is Fjord. And could get him in. I think that's a strong chance. I think Project Hail Mary at the beginning of the year when we were talking about it for lots of things, it came on because it was a huge hit and it felt fresh, it felt new, it felt fun, it was invigorating, it was in March. And then we kept doing it. Like, we kept having surprise hits. It wasn't the only surprise hit. I mean, Obsession sort of stole that crown. Obsession is now the highest grossing original film of the 2020s. It surpassed Sinners. So I it's really hard to look at Project Hail Mary and say, "Yep, we did it." I mean, Michael overperformed at the box office, Backrooms. It just keeps Toy Story had the highest opening of its franchise. So to use success as a metric for Project Hail Mary, it doesn't really feel like the kind of performance that automatically gets Ryan Gosling in. And Matt Damon for The Odyssey, I haven't seen The Odyssey, but Nolan, until his last film, didn't usually get actors in with his films. You know, when you go back to Tenet, no actors. Dunkirk, no. Interstellar, no. Inception, no. I mean, like, his only other actor was Heath Ledger for The Dark Knight, and yes, while that was a success, he has had many films where his actors have not translated into the races. I'm much more interested in less crowded races like supporting actress from maybe somebody like Lupita Nyong'o. So, no, I'm not predicting Matt Damon. There are some films that I need to know who's distributing them and which films are entering the race. Like Nicholas Hoult in Crime in Heaven. I would love to look at that film. There are performances that I'm thinking are going supporting, and if they went lead, I would change my five. Jeremy Strong for The Social Reckoning is rumored to be supporting, whereas they push Jeremy Allen White in lead. Paul Giamatti is assumed to be supporting for The Debut. Um, the Black Ball I is an ensemble piece that I'm waiting to see who who rises to the top. Once more people see it, who rises to the top? Is there a lead actor campaign here, or is the film too crowded with too many good performances to stand out in an ensemble film? And the fact that most of these are international players that aren't well known, can they break into lead actor against well known figures? Which is why I think Javier Bardem, who everyone does know, in an international feature, could break in. Um, so my last wild card is Robert Pattinson for Primetime. He's never been nominated. He's been trying real hard. Let's be honest. Robert Pattinson has been trying real hard to get into this category. Um, what does A24 think of Primetime? Is it primetime for them? Are they going to be able to push Pattinson into this category? Perhaps. They don't have, in what I'm predicting anyway, they don't really have a strong, obvious contender. Nobody's, even the people who think Club Kid is going to get the best picture aren't predicting lead actor for that film. So it's like the buck stops somewhere, right? So Rob Pattinson could get a big push from A24 for Primetime. He's just playing Chris Hansen, though. So I, I'm like, is this fodder for Oscars? It's just, I mean, I know the film's going to be more complicated than that, but at the same time, it just doesn't feel like a chewy role. When we go into these biopics and you're like, oh, you're playing who? Oh my God, you're playing who? Wow, you're playing Chris Hansen? It just, there's something about it that just makes me pause and say, I don't know if it's yet for Robert Pattinson. Bardem's been nominated before. I think Beloved, yeah, if I'm going to round up my top five, I'm going to do it with Javier Bardem for right now. So I changed my mind a little bit, went with Sebastian over Adam Driver. So my top five are Tom Cruise for Digger, John Malkovich for Wild Horse 9, John Turturro for The Only Living Pickpocket in New York, Sebastian Stan for Fjord, and Javier Bardem for The Beloved. I would say if I'm rounding out my top 10 of who I am keeping the most eye on, it would be Adam Driver for Paper Tiger. It would be Robert Pattinson for Primetime. It would be, I guess, Sam Rockwell for Wild Horse 9. Question mark? I don't know. Is he getting there? It would be someone from La Bala Negra. And maybe perhaps, I don't know. I feel like there's going to be someone who's going to sneak attack. Mahershala Ali is in a film this year. He, of course, has already won twice. I don't know how he could get in a third time. Charles Melton is in Saturn Rising, which I'm waiting to see how that goes with from the director of Sing Sing, Greg Quaidar. He came close before, you know. I don't. Saturn Rising is not Netflix's priority anymore because they have the Black Ball, but I'd be intrigued to see where he goes with that. If he can get himself into the race. I suppose Fatherland is an outside choice for lead actor. I don't think Chalamet is getting in this year. I guess Matt Damon has some shot for, because we haven't seen the Odyssey yet. He might be amazing. It might be a career defining performance for him. I think Gosling's going to get left out. I know people are like, he got nominated for Ken. I'm like, that's not that I don't think he's going to be present for Oscar season. I do. I think he's going to get in. I think he'll get like a Golden Globe nomination. I think he might get into Critics' Choice. But I don't think he's going to be somebody who consistently shows up in every single award. He's not going to sweep. I think some other people are going to sweep, and I think other narratives are going to be rewarded. You know, you have Malkovich, who hasn't been here in a hot minute. Cruise hasn't been here in a hot minute. Totoro's never been here. You know, even somebody like Pattinson could break into the race because he's never been here before. So, yeah, those are my picks. Do I think Jafar Jackson could get nominated? Not really. Not for Oscars. I think he's Golden Globe and that's it. I don't even think he's not gonna get SAG. They're not gonna recognize him for that. He's not really an actor. He has no other credits. He's never gonna do anything else. This is the only thing he's ever gonna do. Critics' Choice, I hate that movie. BAFTA, it's an American thing. Why would they nominate him? I just don't know where his path is. Does he just show up at the Oscars one day after the Golden Globe nomination and just be like, I got it? Let's face it, he's not winning the Golden Globe. So the potential for him to get anywhere is just so small. He'll get breakthrough awards. That's his best path forward. The welcoming of Jafar Jackson is going to be limited to a lot of breakthrough performances awards, and even then, he's up against Obsession. So, he gets nominated a lot. Because it's going to be real hard to ignore that Indiometer is from Obsession is not the breakthrough performance of 2026. I don't know what else is to come, but right now that's pretty obvious as to who the breakthrough performer of the year is right now. So anyway, those are my actor predictions. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Let me know who your top 5 is. And if you hate mine, that's fine. I try not to do what are the top 5 everyone else is thinking about right now? What are we doing, guys? I want to just parrot you. I just want to say the exact same things. Take swings. Because if you can take a swing, if you can be the first one on something before anybody else, and if you're the one championing it, I jokingly had Obsession in my first picks. And it's turning out to be a thing, so I'm gonna keep on that train. Because I didn't want to put Narnia, Doom 3, or something else. And I was like, I don't know. I've heard a lot about Obsession. Maybe I'll throw that in there. Lo and behold. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the other side.